Hey guys! ARMY, Jungkook shippers, this beautiful community. Today we need to talk about something that's been quietly sitting in the background, something small, almost invisible, but once you notice it, you can't unsee it. Because what if I told you that Park Jimin once made a request to Jungkook? Something simple, something meaningful, and somehow, it never happened. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. Out of all the moments they've shared, all the laughter, all the late night talks, all the chaos and comfort, they still have this one thing left hanging. And the real question is why? Now, before you scroll or think this is just another overanalyzed fan theory, stay with me. Because what we're about to unpack isn't about drama, it's about emotion. It's about the kind of connection that doesn't always follow a straight line. Because when you look at Jimin and Jungkook, you're not just looking at two global superstars. You're looking at a bond that has grown, shifted, and deepened over years in front of millions of eyes. And yet, somehow, there are still pieces of their story that feel unfinished, like this one.
So here's what we know.
At one point, during a casual conversation, one of those moments that fans love because it feels raw and unfiltered, Jimin expressed something he wanted from Jungkook. Not a grand gesture, not something staged, just a moment, a shared experience, something that, to him, clearly mattered. And Jungkook? He didn't reject it outright. He didn't dismiss it, but somehow it just never happened. It slipped through time, buried under schedules, expectations, and everything else that comes with being who they are. And this is where it gets interesting. Because for most people, that would be the end of the story. Life gets busy. Things don't always align. But for Jungkook, nothing is ever that simple. Fans started noticing patterns the way Jimin would bring it up again, half joking, half serious. The way Jungkook would respond, not with indifference, but with this quiet, almost thoughtful hesitation. Like he knew it mattered, but maybe didn't know how or when to make it happen. And guys, this is where the emotion really hits. Because sometimes the things we don't do say more than the things we do. Think about it. In a relationship, any relationship, there are promises, spoken or unspoken. And when something remains unfulfilled, it doesn't always mean something is broken. Sometimes it means something is still growing. Now let me pull you in a little deeper because this is the part people don't talk about enough. Jimin has always been expressive. He wears his heart on his sleeve. When he cares about someone, you feel it through his words, his actions, even the smallest gestures. And with Jungkook, that energy is amplified. There's a softness there, a vulnerability that only shows up in certain moments. So when Jimin asks for something, even something small, it's never just about the thing itself. It's about connection, about being seen, about sharing something meaningful together. Jungkook, on the other hand, is different. Not distant, just quieter in how he expresses things. He shows care through actions more than words, through presence, through protection, through those subtle moments that you only catch if you're really paying attention. So when he doesn't fulfill a request, it doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't care. It might mean he's processing it differently. Or maybe he's waiting for the right moment. And that contrast? That's what makes their dynamic so powerful and so complicated. But wait, because here's where the story takes another turn. Fans started connecting this unfulfilled request to other moments. The lingering looks, the inside jokes, the way they gravitate toward each other even in a crowded room. It's like, even without that one moment happening, everything else between them keeps building. Stronger, deeper, more layered. So now we're left with this question that's been quietly echoing through the fandom. Is this really about something missing? Or is it actually proof of something more real than we expected? Because let's be honest, if everything between them was perfect, predictable, always fulfilled, would it even feel this genuine? Relationships that matter aren't flawless. They're messy. They're unfinished. They leave room for longing, for anticipation, for moments that haven't happened yet. And maybe, just maybe, that's what this is. Not a failure, not a sign of distance, but a space, a pause, a not yet. And if you think about it like that, it changes everything. Because suddenly, that unfulfilled request isn't sad, it's hopeful. It's something that still exists between them. Something that hasn't been closed off. Something that could still happen at any time. And imagine that moment, guys. Imagine if one day, out of nowhere, Jungkook turns to Jimin and finally says yes. No cameras, no scripts, just them. After all this time, after all the waiting, wouldn't that hit differently? And I think that's why this story matters so much to fans. Not because of what didn't happen, but because of what still could. It keeps the connection alive in a way that feels almost personal. Like we're witnessing something that's still unfolding. Now let's talk about the emotional layer here, because this is where things get real. There's a kind of quiet courage in asking for something, knowing it might not happen. And Jimin did that. He put it out there. And even when it didn't immediately come true, he didn't pull away. He stayed. He continued to care. Continued to show up.
And Jungkook?
He didn't ignore it. He carried it with him, even if he didn't act on it right away. And sometimes, that kind of silent acknowledgement says more than words ever could. So, what does this mean for their relationship? Honestly, it means it's real. Because real connections aren't built on constant fulfillment. They're built on understanding, on patience, on the ability to hold space for things that aren't resolved yet. And Jungkook? They've mastered that in a way that feels almost effortless. But don't get it twisted. This doesn't mean fans shouldn't feel curious. Because curiosity is part of what keeps this community alive. It's what makes every glance, every interaction, every tiny detail feel significant. And this is one of those details that just sticks with you. So, the next time you watch them together, pay attention. Not just to what they do, but to what hasn't happened yet. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories are the ones still waiting to be completed. And who knows, maybe someday, we'll get that moment. Maybe someday, that request won't be unfulfilled anymore. And when that day comes, you already know the entire fandom is going to lose it. But until then, we watch, we wait, and we feel every piece of this story as it continues to unfold. Alright guys, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Do you see this as something meaningful, or just a small moment blown out of proportion? And more importantly, do you think Jungkook will ever fulfill that request? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about it together. And if you felt something while watching this, if this story made you think, made you feel, or even just made you smile, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and be part of this growing community. Because here, we don't just watch moments, we feel them. See you in the next video.